the right, then Bill Clinton in the middle. Some of the other images will show President Trump with Epstein. We've seen some images of that before. The new cache will show other images of Trump and Epstein side by side.
And we should note, Scott, that just because these people are seen with Jeffrey Epstein, who, socialize quite frequently, we see President Trump as a private citizen there in this batch of some 19 images from House Oversight Democrats. Just because we see people in these images doesn't necessarily mean they're accused of wrongdoing. So what is the end game? Why are House Democrats on the Oversight Committee releasing these now? Could this lead to legal action?
Yeah, these images show no criminal wrongdoing, no wrongdoing of any sort, but they don't happen in a vacuum. They're being released just as the Department of Justice is facing this deadline to release a complete set of Epstein case files. And the more images you see, the more they can ratchet up the political pressure for the administration to follow through, finish up, and release the entirety of what they have. And the entirety of what they have could be hundreds of thousands of pages that would require redactions, ensuring the privacy of information about victims, about the identities of victims. It's a process, and it's unclear to a lot of people how they get that all done by next Friday.
Scott MacFarlane in our D.C. bureau with discussion of that breaking news on these images just released from the Epstein estate. Scott, thank you very much. Let's jump to CBS News senior White House and political correspondent Ed O'Keefe, who was also watching this as it unfolds. Ed, what is the expected reaction from the White House? President Trump has called Epstein in general a hoax, but has also defended the Department of Justice's efforts to get justice for victims. So what can we expect from your part of the world today on this topic?
We have asked here at the White House for comment. We have obviously not received one yet. We'll keep an eye on his Truth Social account and see if anyone else here comments on it. Remember, yes, the president and Epstein were known to be friends through most of the 90s, earlier this century. The president has not been accused of any wrongdoing whatsoever, and it is important to stress these are 19 photos from, as Scott will tell us, tens of thousands, if not more, documents, photos, other exhibits that have been compiled from and are slowly being released from the Epstein estate by Democrats on the House Oversight Committee. This White House and Republicans writ large have accused the Democrats on the committee of cherry-picking pieces of evidence that have been shared by the Epstein committee to embarrass the president or to keep this going for political reasons. But here, for example, in this image, you see the former president, Bill Clinton, alongside Ghislaine Maxwell and Epstein. And again, just because they were in a photo together doesn't mean he did anything wrong. Maxwell, most recently in her testimony or her interview with the Deputy Attorney General earlier this year, remember, said that while she knew Trump was a friend of Epstein, she wasn't aware of him having committed any kind of illegal act, criminal act, or having engaged at all with the young women that Epstein kept in his circles. And, there's been tremendous pressure placed on the Justice Department to release all this ever since last year's campaign, when it was then candidate Trump and many who now work in positions of power saying that this information should be released for the broader public to see. You're starting to see it, but at the hands of congressional Democrats, not the Justice Department. And we are still several days away from the release of further information at the order of judges. And then, of course, the law that was passed by the House and the Senate mandating that all of the information that the Justice Department have be released. And that's coming up on a late December release date that, of course, is going to come at the end of the year when people are focused on other issues, justifiably at the holiday season. But we'll just further begin to fill out some of the details, some of the imagery that people have wondered about. But again, like this photo here, what does this tell us other than the president, who was then a businessman, was in a photo with someone? Who that someone is unclear, but for Democrats to release that today is going to immediately spark more accusations that they're just stoking this for political purposes, unless they can justify or explain why that photo is out there. There's another one. And again, we've seen photos like this of then businessman Trump spending time with his friend Epstein. But again, it doesn't allege or show any criminal behavior or anything untoward that some may have accused or believed the president may have committed at some time.
And O'Keefe with the latest at the White House for us. Ed, thank you. I want to jump back to Scott MacFarlane in our D.C. bureau as we kind of digest all of this, Scott. We've been looking through, I guess it's approximately 19 images that House Democrats on the House Oversight Committee have released. We've just seen images of Steve Bannon with Woody Allen, the famous director. We saw Alan Dershowitz. We saw former President Bill Clinton, Larry Summers, the economist and former Treasury Secretary, who actually resigned from the board of OpenAI recently because of his name popping up in the Epstein files. None of them are being accused of any wrongdoing here and now, Scott. So why release these images, especially considering that victims of Epstein have said they want to make sure certain victims are protected with these images being released? So what is the angle?
Some good questions. Let me double down on what Ed just said. He nailed it. The Democrats on the House Oversight Committee, who've been the conduit for so much in this Jeffrey Epstein release, have been accused of cherry picking certain things, not just by the White House, but by the Republicans on the House Oversight Committee, who've said that this is all a political mess the Democrats are trying to cause. So what impact do some photos of Donald Trump when he was a private citizen many years ago next to a anonymous woman on a plane next to Jeffrey Epstein some time ago, what value do they bring? Well, I think this is happening at such a pivotal moment. Democrats would argue it brings a lot of value. It underscores the importance of releasing the full Jeffrey Epstein case files because it shows that Jeffrey Epstein was operating in some very powerful circles, and that maybe those case files show something the public needs to know without defining what that something is. And we've seen just a remarkable thing over the last couple of weeks. We've seen 3 federal judges, 1 in Florida, 2 in New York, unseal grand jury materials. That doesn't happen very often. Grand jury materials tend to stay sealed to protect investigations, tips, sources, and content. But this unsealing happened because the president signed a law that Congress passed almost unanimously requiring the full Epstein case files be released, that the public wants them. So we're unsealing grand jury materials. They're releasing photos of people from many years ago with some type of proximity to Jeffrey Epstein. All of this underscores the importance of what happens 1 week from today, when there's a deadline of December 19th for the full release of the Jeffrey Epstein case files, a deadline no one is confident anybody's going to be able to keep because it is a Herculean task. There's a lot of records, a lot of redactions like that need to be undertaken. They may come out of context. People won't know what to make of them. And, oh, by the way, Errol, those records have to be searchable and easily reviewable by the public. That was one of the caveats of the law signed by the president.
So, Scott, I think there are, as we mentioned earlier, some 95,000 photos overall from the Epstein estate that I guess, are now being released. And we're just seeing a glimpse of the early images we've been able to get into our system and show our viewers. And we saw images there of Bill Gates, of Richard Branson. I mean, they all are among the most powerful people on Earth decades ago. And so might there be a risk from Democrats appearing as if they are cherry picking and adding pressure to something that effectively is a closed case? Is the suspicion that there are other people outside of Ghislaine Maxwell who have not faced justice yet? Is that what this is really all about?
Well, there's been this broad concern for many years, including from the most ardent supporters of President Trump, that there are secrets being kept in the Epstein files that need to be released. Without being able to quantify or qualify what those secrets are, that's what's been fueling this for so long. And you see with this release just now, Democrats who have opposed President Trump vocally leaning right into it, stoking those flames. Will there be a political kickback from that? There's no way to know for sure, but they've been doing this over the last few months. They've been releasing certain things through the Democrats on the Hill, things that the entire committee has received, and trying to fan the flames. So far, it seems to be effective because amid all these releases, photos here, pictures there, videos here, documents here, they convinced an overwhelming majority, a nearly unanimous vote in the U.S. House and Senate to approve a law to release the entire Epstein case files. And the president, who's been calling this a hoax of the Democrats, signed the law. And this is going to happen in the coming days. But let me tell you something else, Errol. You got 95,000 photos. Do you know what kind of task it is to go through 95,000 photos, try to redact things that need to be kept private, ensure nobody's being disclosed that shouldn't be disclosed, or nothing is being disclosed that shouldn't be disclosed? That sounds like it's going to take some time. We have seen 19 of 95,000, and nobody is indicating to me they're going to release more today, this weekend, or anytime soon.
Yeah, great point there, Scott. These images, this is the first batch among the 95,000 that we're getting a glimpse of now. Our thanks to you, Scott McFarlane in our D.C. bureau, and Ed O'Keefe at the White House for giving us some important context on this breaking and developing story. We're going to continue to follow this throughout the day. Stay close to cbsnews.com. We'll be back in a moment. This is CBS News 24/7 Mornings.
The all-new CBS Evening News.
Lay is facing up to $1 million in tariff payments this year alone.
Zhou, is Lay going to be able to keep her workers under these conditions?
We don't have the same options as large businesses.
Can your business survive this?
If this is the end of my American dream, I'm going to go down swinging.
Sunday morning, curtain going up on the new season. Jennifer Lopez's new movie, Keanu Reeves on Broadway, and more.